Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
Did you have that moment yet where you're 10,000 feet, you're flying high, the world is yours and you own it? If you are soaring high and you are unstoppable, stand up. And then you're grabbing an imaginary rope every day just to get out of bed. And you're only doing it because you have responsibilities for other people. Stand up. It's okay, it's a safe space. I see you, I've been you. We are here to help you move forward. Some of you saw my sign in the back there that my daughter wrote for Mother's Day. It says, "What does my mom do for a job?" And it says, "Go to meetings." I was exhausted. Not because I was physically challenged or mentally exhausted. I was bored. I was pouring into the organization. I was continuously improving them. I was pouring into my son. I was pouring into my relationship with my husband. In fact, if I met you on the street, I was pouring more into you than I was pouring into myself. Somewhere along the way, I forgot about me. Then I said, something's got to change. What am I going to do? It wasn't anything that any of you can't do. I didn't create it. It is life-changing. Anyone want to know my secret? Yes! Continuous personal growth. I told you it wasn't anything new. I created a framework on how to grow yourself called Let's Grow. Listen to him and leverage your strengths. Embrace change.
All right. Welcome to the next episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast. We have a very special guest waiting for you in the green room. Before I bring her in, let's do what we always do here. It's a moment of gratitude. We take a moment every single time we meet to be grateful. For those who watch the episode that was just before this one, you know that I am really grateful for freedom today. Thank God for freedom. All right, let me see if I can properly introduce our guest. Today I have really the great privilege to be speaking to Coach Michelle von Ruden. She's a speaker, a burnout strategist, a leadership coach, a trainer, entrepreneur, and host of Why I Believe podcast. Through von Ruden Coaching and Consulting, she works with high achievers to turn on resilience, clarity, and purpose while turning off burnout, overwhelm, and depletion. Before moving into coaching and speaking, Michelle built more than 15 years of experience across operation, human resources, accounting, finance, and serving in leadership positions, including controller, FP&A manager, plant controller, operation manager, and director of operations. She also earned her MBA in management and leadership from the University of Kansas and is a member of the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team. Her philosophy can be captured in 5 powerful words: grow through what you go through. Wow. Let me say that again. Grow through what you go through. Now, part of what you're going to be learning today is burnt out versus resilience, how high achiever can recognize burnt out before exhaustion becomes their normal, but also faith and purpose, right? Why Michelle created the Why I Believe podcast and how faith, hope, and resilience, leadership and calling intersect in her life and work. So, without any further ado, please help me welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast, the one and only Coach Michelle Von Rutter.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Fantastic. What a pleasure and privilege to be speaking to you right now. I really love the way you speak. I've looked at some of your episodes on YouTube and throughout the web. It's really amazing how you connect with your audience. But maybe to get started, what is something you are feeling grateful about today?
I'm grateful. I've already been up to into the Twin Cities and back all in one day.
Wow.
So it's been an early morning. It's been a great day, and I'm just thankful that I get to do what I do every day.
That's so wonderful. For people who meet you for the very first time, what would you say something about you they may not know, maybe a superpower or just a special gift or ability?
Yeah, some of my friends and some of my circles call me Miracle Michelle. So I have survived things that are technically unsurvivable. And so I just live every day with that grace and knowing that I'm here for a purpose and to share that with people.
That is really, really, really powerful. I'm sure we may get into some of that. Now, I guess one question I had for you is, for those meeting you for the very first time, who is Michelle Von Ruden and what experiences have most shaped the woman and the leader you are today? Beyond all of your accolades, your accomplishments, your awards and achievement, who are you to your core?
I love that question. And my answer today is very different from what it would have been even 3 years ago.
Wow.
So, hi, I'm Michelle Von Ruden, a child of God, wife to Mike for about 18 years, and mother to 2 children. Adventurous soul, adventurous spirit, love being outdoors and doing everything. And when I'm not doing that, the meaningful things, I'm a burnout strategist and a podcast host.
Wow. That is a lot. Where do you find time to sleep? My goodness.
Well, it's about doing the meaningful things first,
Yes.
right?
That is amazing. I was going to get there later, but maybe I should get to this now. Even on your LinkedIn profile, on your banner, you have this and you show the tattoos on your hand. What does that mean to you?
41 beats. Okay, so those are not real tattoos. It was through a National Speakers Association conference I was at. But 41 beats is really my burnout story.
Wow.
And so if you want, we can dive right into it.
Yes, please.
So as a child, I was born with a bad heart. So I had open heart surgery when I was 3 months old.
Wow.
And every year I get followed by some of the best doctors in the world. And in 2022, on a Tuesday night, sitting at home, I went into AFib, atrial fibrillation. And it came out of nowhere. And so my doctors decided that they wanted to put me on a heart monitor for 30 days to see what was going on. And I'm like, fine, yep, no big deal. Let's put it on. So they sent it to me, they put it on. And I wasn't really sure what was going on. And I was supposed to travel for work that weekend to Madison, Wisconsin. I said, hey, I'm not going to go. My boss was toxic. And so I said, I'm not even going to tell her what's going on. I'm going to keep this to myself. And I'm just going to say I don't feel good. And I'll support the team from home, which is exactly what I did, which is what I did most of the time. I was a remote worker that came into the office on occasion. And the following week is when things got really interesting. She called me, accused me of all sorts of things, very toxic.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember during the phone call, I felt like my blood was boiling. And she's screaming at me and I can't speak. And I finally decided to hang up the phone. And I thought that was the end of this. But it wasn't. 15 minutes later, I get a phone call from my cardiologist. And he was just as loud as my boss, but in a totally different way. Michelle, are you okay? Are you hurt? Are you bleeding? How long were you unconscious for? Do you need an ambulance?
Wow.
How can I help you? So my entire conversation was being live fed, not by words, but by heartbeats.
Wow.
And during that phone call, when I felt like my blood was boiling it was actually my body going into ventricular tachycardia.
What?
And for those who don't know what ventricular tachycardia is, it's an irregular arrhythmia of your heart that can actually kill you. It causes sudden cardiac arrest.
Oh my goodness.
And I was in that state for 41 weeks.
Wow.
They later told me they don't know how I made it through. I self-converted by the grace of God.
Yes.
And never actually went to the hospital.
Wow.
A few months down the road, they checked my heart because, as any logical person would say, well, you have a heart condition. That's what it was. It wasn't the stress and the burnout from your job. Well, during their study, they concluded that my heart was actually fine and that it was the phone call and the stress from my job that should have taken my life.
My goodness. Wow. That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Man, if you are in a toxic culture, your job could actually be killing you.
Right. And I was burned out. And, after a lot of reflection, trying to figure this out, like, why did this happen and what's going on? And it was really my fault. If we're going to be really honest, it was my fault because I attached my identity, who I am, to all my titles, achievements, accolades. And so when somebody would attack my work or my work ethic, they were essentially attacking me at the core. And that was the stress that was put on my heart that it was not happy with. And that changed everything. That was a game changer, right? So that's when I decided I need to start my own company. I partnered with the Maxwell Leadership Team. I realized that something needed to change and I could be part of the change. Wow. And that was the kicking off point for the company.
That is really amazing. So taking us back there, what was one of the primary emotions that hit you the hardest during that time?
I was just really angry. So when I had first interviewed for this role, I told the boss, I'm in finance. I was like, if at any point you don't trust me, let me know. Like, I'm out. I'll leave. I think trust is huge, especially in the financial industry.
Yes.
And instead of having a conversation off unfounded facts, she just went straight into accusatory mode. And that's not my typical disclaimer when I work for a company, but that company had already been part of some embezzlement. And so I was kind of like, hey, you can trust me. If that trust is broken for any reason, founded or unfounded, just let's have a conversation. Let's be humans and have an adult conversation. And that's not what happened. And it was intense.
That's really crazy. And during that time, did that kind of affect your confidence as well?
No.
Good.
No, because I knew that I had done nothing wrong. I knew the accusations were unfounded. And for me, it was it was a wake-up call. It was like, okay, what am I doing to myself? What am I allowing others to put on me? And where do I need to take the responsibility and make changes?
Wow. Did that kind of teach you what not to do as a leader? Because I feel like that's one reason why I really love the Bible. It's not just positive leadership, but also what to never do.
Yeah, and that, it did. But, I was fortunate that I grew up in a very much leadership-centric world. My parents were both military. So I grew up around leadership, although sometimes it was authoritative, versus servant, right? But that leadership aspect was always there. And so I already had a good idea of what to do and what not to do. But
that's really insightful. Wow.
Yeah.
But then when you made that decision, okay, you have to leave, you're going to start your own business and you partner with the John Maxwell Leadership Organization. I'm sure part of you was a little bit afraid, right? You're trying to do something brand new. You have no idea if it's going to be successful or not. You won't have that steady paycheck you used to have. I guess my question is, how did you confront that fear or just that knowing the unknown?
So my path wasn't quite that clear. Unfortunately, about 3 weeks after that phone call, it was my birthday and I was bringing my 12-year-old son home from his checkup and we were hit by a distracted driver.
Oh, no.
So 2 cars colliding at 60 miles an hour don't usually end well.
Wow.
Happy to say we were both here. So why
That's
I didn't
another miracle. Wow.
Why I didn't leave the organization right away, God made it so I didn't have to go back. I didn't go back for months. And by the time I went back, that boss was gone.
Wow.
And I was trying to do it all. So you guys, I talk about the things that I do so often because I was like, okay, I'm going to recover from a car accident. I'm going to recover from the concussion and all the surgeries. And I'm going to try to start a new business. And I'm going to try to work as the operations director. And I'm going to be a mom. And I'm going to be a wife. And because it hadn't hit me that all of these ands and saying yes to everybody was really the root of the problem, right? I didn't like come out of that incident going, oh, I need to change my lifestyle, right? It's not that instant. It's deep reflection and prayer and just coming back to it to realize what was really happening. And so I actually spent all of 2023 recovering and building the business, and then finally said, okay, something has to give. They said, I'm not going to get better if I keep trying to do it all. And we made that choice at that time to say, okay, let's see what you got, Michelle. And my husband was 100% behind me and still is to this day. So
that's amazing. Man, what a great story. I think our audience can really learn a lot from that. What do you think is one of the greatest lesson you learned from that experience?
You can't do it all. You know, I always prided myself on being Wonder Woman, being able to do it all. And that accident slowed me down. In fact, one of my doctors, I've had her for so many years, she goes, you know, Michelle, I got to say, I'm not happy to see you hurt. I'm not happy to see you in a C-collar because I also broke my neck in the accident.
Oh my goodness.
She's like, but I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that's going to slow you down for a little bit.
Wow.
And so when your doctors recognize that you go, and that had I not had the broken neck, I probably wouldn't have slowed down. I think that's really just saying a lot about A, my personality, B, the people who knew me, and then C, my priorities. Because if you can tell by that, my priority was not me. My priority was everybody else. And I was coming in last, if at all.
Wow. You remind me like when every time you fly, right? They always says, no, when there is turbulence, you need to take care of yourself first. Put the mask in your hand and then take care of your kids or your wife or whoever else is beside you. That's so important. But most people, especially women in my experience, they tend to always take care of everybody else and they never care for themselves. Why is it so important to really take care of yourself? And that it's not a selfish act. It's actually an act of love to care for yourself so you can be available to take care of others. Isn't it?
Yeah. And so I really changed my value structure and not necessarily the structure, but the way that it was ordered. So if you would have asked me at one point in life, number 1 would have been my job. Number 2 would have been my family. 3 would have been faith. And then me would have been somewhere 4, 5, 6 down the line. Right.
Wow.
That would have been the old structure. And those who know me now know exactly what it stands, right? It's my faith because God has me here for a reason. My health, because if I'm not taking care of me, I can't help anybody else. My family, because we're taking care of meaningful things first, right? And then my business.
So powerful. I feel like a lot of people learned that lesson during the COVID pandemic, that there is much more to life than just work. And families really, really mean something. Wow. So how are you different today because of these experiences, you think?
Yeah, definitely. I've changed the way, like I said, even my value structure has changed. Maybe not the values themselves, but how they align and where they stand in my list of priorities. And now I take my experience because I realize how fortunate I am. And I help other high achievers beat burnout, break the cycle, and take back their life. Because burnout doesn't just affect us. It affects our family. It affects our work. Even though we think we're doing all this high achieving work, it affects our work. And eventually what happens is when employers aren't noticing and aren't helping their staff with this, they're going to burn out at work. They're going to get overwhelmed. They're going to shut down. They're going to be one of those quiet quitters. And then they're going to leave. And so a lot of times companies are like, well, this doesn't really affect me. It's a personal thing. Well, no, it does. Because eventually they're going to leave. It's going to affect the bottom line. You're going to have to rehire, retrain. And, you know, you had a great employee. We just didn't take care of them. And so it's really nice nowadays to start seeing companies who are investing in their staff in ways that they haven't before.
Hmm. That is really insightful. What do you think will these experiences kind of shape the legacy you are going to leave behind?
Mm. So, at one point my legacy was like, okay, we're going to have the money, the house, the cars, all the things. But really what I want people to, when I'm gone, what I want them to think of is she led people, she served people, she helped people.
Wow.
And it wasn't about her, it was about other people. At the core, it still needs to be about me because I need to take care of myself first.
Yes.
But I'm taking care of me so I can help other people. Because if I can stop somebody else from experiencing this, then I've done my job.
Yes.
If I can help people beat burnout, I have done my job.
And by the way, you do need to write that book. I triple check every time I interview someone. I want to make sure I didn't miss a book. You don't have a book on Amazon yet, but I think it's going to be a #1 bestseller. It's just incredible, the lessons what you've gone through and what you've learned from it. I guess last question I'm going to ask about this before we go to the next segment. I believe this is a picture of your son, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So
yes.
I guess the last question is, what lesson do you hope your son would learn from watching you survive all of this?
He is a rock in and of himself. He was with me the night of the car accident.
Wow.
They missed his door by a mere couple inches. He's, as you can see, 15 and a half, driving now. So that's kind of scary.
Yes.
But it's kind of funny. One of the things he says to me is like, Mom, can you stop leadershiping me? And I think that's important to highlight because there's people who aren't authentic, right? And I'm like, I don't know how to turn it off, Hunter. That's who I am. Yes. And so what you see on stage, what you see on a podcast, is what you see at home.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, I don't know how to stop doing that. But one thing I've taught both of my children is integrity. And I always tell them, I'm like, do the right thing, even when nobody's watching, because somebody is always watching.
That is so true.
And integrity is like #1. And that's the one thing that I have drilled into both of my children.
Wow, that is so powerful. And by the way, I don't know if you know her, but she's a Maxwell certified coach as well. Coach Kimberly Cohn, she says, great insight, Michelle. Get our order of priorities right. Yeah, that is so important because sometimes I feel like we work so hard on things that really in the long run don't matter at all. Right? The Bible says, what does it profit a man to gain the entire world, but then at the end lose your soul? You're gonna get, you talk about the house, the car, the money, and so forth, but then you lose your relationship with your spouse, and your children don't even know who you are. I mean, why did you do all of that? It's wow, that is really, really, really powerful. Again, thank you so much for sharing all of those. I think we started pretty hard today, but I guess one question I have for you then is, you built a very successful career across, we talked about accounting, finance, HR, and operation before you became a coach and a speaker. Was there maybe like a defining moment when you really realized that your calling was shifting from managing organization to really developing people and adding value to people?
Yeah, I would say really, even though I was managing things, I was still developing people. So I've been coaching my entire career because I really felt that was important to mentor people, because I've had some really good mentors along the way as well. Some people who showed me the way to go. And I think that's always nice to be able to pass that down. So even when I was a manager and I had a team, like I was still coaching that team. And I would say my biggest defining moment was shortly before all of this happened. I was at a SHRM state conference in Illinois. And it was there that I learned that people were coaching and training and speaking all about leadership.
Wow.
So my entire life has been about leadership, right? We kind of talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Even in middle school and high school, I was always cherry picked to go to leadership conferences, right? Like I was fortunate enough to be in so many things, including Model United Nations.
Wow.
And so my whole life has been about leadership. And I was like, I came home and I told my husband, I was like, Mike, people are doing leadership like as a job. And I was just mind blown. And he's like, how did you miss that? And I was like, I have no idea. Wow. I was like, I must be living under a rock. And so we had already started talking about what would that look like
Mhm.
for me and for the family if I were to do that prior to the phone call. The phone call was like, okay, yep, this is what we're doing. Right? That was okay, we know where we need to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really, really powerful. And you have a phrase that I really love. I think I mentioned that at the top of the podcast. You say, "Grow through what you go through." I mean, very, very simple, but it really could preach. What happened in your life that really gave those words meaning? Growing through what you go through.
Yeah, grow through what you go through. I think I got that probably from John Maxwell, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's so fitting because
Yes.
I think we can go through a lot of things, right? I've just mentioned two major things that I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have went through them, dealt with them, and moved on and never reflected.
Yes.
But it's that reflection piece that is the game changer. When
Mm.
we stop and we reflect on our experiences and we learn from them and we grow, that is when we can make those necessary changes to not only impact our life and how we come out of things, but also impact the lives of others around us.
Yes.
So reflection is very key to that statement.
Wow, that is really, really powerful. So it seems like part of what you are saying is for some people, they go through life, they're almost like a zombies, right? They just react to whatever is happening to them, but they really don't take the time to actually live, to breathe, and to pay attention and to be even aware of their surrounding. Is
Yeah.
that true?
I think, well, how many of us are running on autopilot?
Yeah.
I mean, let's have a serious conversation. How many of you have gotten into your car and drove to the grocery store down the road,
Mm.
and the next thing you know, you're at the grocery store and you don't remember the drive?
Yes.
Right? And it's not because you're not in the car, and it's not because you're not paying attention. You're on autopilot. It's easy. You've been there, you've done that. You look for the things. Hopefully you didn't miss anything. But in the background, your mind is running a mile a minute with all the things that you still need to do, because we have created a culture where being busy just to be busy is a sort of pride, which
Wow.
I think is really detrimental to not only us, but to our children.
Yes.
Because, our kids want to do all the things. If you remember a kid, you wanted to grow up so fast. You wanted to do all the big kid things.
Mm-hmm.
And now in this day and age, they have the opportunity to do all of those things.
Yes.
And we say yes to a lot, right? And, one of the things I learned over the summer is our teens are dealing with burnout too.
Yes.
And it's because we keep saying yes, yes, yes. So we have taken this culture of being busy to be busy and imparted it on our children. Now, I'm not saying that our kids should not be in activities. Do not get me wrong. Do not misunderstand what I'm saying. What I am saying is at some point we need to take a look and take stock at our life,
Yes.
and our children's life, and what are we putting on ourselves? What type of pressure are we putting on ourselves? Because what we're doing, our kids are modeling.
So powerful. Wow. So stop saying yes to everything. Just like Coach Kimberly said, we really need to get our order of priorities right. Like I guess the Bible says, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Sometimes people want to say no, but they end up saying yes just because they want to please people. Why do people do that? And then they really run themselves too thin. They're doing too many stuff and they don't have time to reflect, meditate, or think.
Yes. Yeah, we say yes to a lot, right? And I think that's, I'll talk from my experience. I said yes to a lot of things and probably too many because I didn't want to disappoint others.
Yeah.
I wanted to be that one that people could lean on, right? But at some point, even as the strongest tower, you start to lean yourself.
True.
Right? And then you collapse. And at some point, you have to say, okay, who am I serving? And are they serving me?
Yes.
And here's what I mean by that. I tell my clients this every year, like at least once a year, you need to look at the people you're serving, the organizations you belong to, because as entrepreneurs, we can have a laundry list of services and organizations we belong to, partake in, boards we sit on. The list is endless.
Yes.
But who are we serving? And who's still serving us? So what I mean by that is like, if I take on a position, am I showing up? Am I doing the stuff outside the room? Am I having those conversations? Am I help benefiting the organization?
Wow.
If any of that is a no, then I need to go, okay, why? Is this really not a priority for me? And if it's not, I need to step back and let somebody else take that seat so they can learn and grow. But at the same time, if you are saying yes to every one of those boxes and you're just giving, and there's nothing wrong with giving, and they're just taking, and you're not receiving any sort of reciprocal on that, then maybe that's another question. Okay, have I overstepped too far? Do they just depend on me now? And it's really just my show and they're not contributing? Because everything we do is a two-way street. Everything that we do is a relationship.
Yes.
And so we really need to understand where we sit in that relationship, because there are a lot of people that are coming up through the ranks, and regardless of the industry, who would love to have that position that you're maybe sitting on because you think you have to be the one when they could come in and rock it.
This is really a great way to get to the next segment to talk about burnout. I think a lot of people who follow the show, sometimes if they're not careful, like you say, you keep giving, eventually you won't have anything more to give.
Yeah.
And that's not a good place to be. So what exactly is burnout? And also, how can a high-performing leader distinguish burned out from simply being tired or stressed or going through a demanding season?
Yeah. So really, it's kind of starts there, right? So all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm tired. Okay, I need more naps. I'm really stressed. But what happens is burnout isn't just like, okay, I'm really stressed, but maybe for accountants, it's month end. So we know during your month end process that's going to be a little tighter. It's going to be longer hours. You're going to be more stressed. That makes sense. You come out of month end and things start to settle down, right? When we do these things and we can't point to an incident, a situation, or we go and we get some rest and it's not restorative, then that's when we start going, okay, maybe it's a little bit more than that. Yes. And as high performers and high achievers, we're really good at pushing through these things because that's what we do. We're like, oh, we got to push. But when you start losing your sense of creativity, you feel depleted, your motivation is gone. Maybe you're starting to wonder, like, what is my purpose? Yeah. When you start questioning things that have always been true, those are big red flags.
Wow. That's really insightful, because I feel like many successful people, they wear exhaustion almost like a badge of honor. I think that used to be you. Yep. But when does ambition really stop being healthy and it begins to become destructive?
It's my belief that ambition becomes destructive when you tie it to your identity. And one of the questions I ask my clients is, if you strip away all your titles, accolades, who is left?
Wow.
And if you don't know who is left, you need to do some soul searching. Right? Yeah, so for me, I took the titles, achievements, and that's where everything lived. And now, as you heard me say when I introduced myself, I am a child of God.
Yes.
I no longer have to earn my worth.
Wow.
Right? Through titles and achievements. I just have to own it. And maybe you're not a believer, and that's your choice, and that's okay, right? Because we're all different. But what can you say to identify that somebody else can't strip away?
Wow. That is really, really powerful. Yeah, I was going to say, as the very first question I asked you, beyond all of your accolades and achievement, who are you at your core? You said, I am a child of God. That is so powerful. That's really liberating, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, I used to think like the next thing, like check all the boxes, check. And I would check every box. And at the end of that box, there's a new box, because that feeling of satisfaction of never being enough was still there. And I'm like, oh, I must have to get one more level.
So you are worthy, even if you don't have to accomplish another thing.
Correct.
You are good just the way you are. Wow. Yep. That is powerful.
It takes off a lot of pressure.
Yes. Wow. Because it looks like many leaders, I hear them, they usually say, my people come first. But what happens when the leader continually puts himself or herself last? Can we sustainably take care of others without taking care of our own selves?
Yeah, so we kind of talked about that with our families, right? Where they're modeling our behavior. So if we're saying, okay, we're going to be a servant leader, then let's be a servant leader. And being a servant leader means okay, I have to take care of me so I can take care of you. And
Yes.
it's not selfish. It's really modeling the behavior you want to see.
I guess you are learning to set boundaries, and I think a lot of people have trouble doing that. One of my best mentors, she really taught me how to set those boundaries and set them very, very clearly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is important if you want longevity and you really want to preserve your purpose. You're going to learn to do that. But I guess, what role do boundaries play in resilience, right? That's the question. And how can leaders establish those boundaries without feeling guilty, without feeling like they are letting their teams or other people down? How do you do it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. And it took me a while to learn. But what I did learn is that every yes has a cost.
Yes.
So when I say yes to one thing, I'm saying no to something else.
Mm,
And when I'm saying no to something, I'm saying yes to something else.
yes.
So one of my rules is my son, he is in sports. So I don't miss his first season of the game and I don't miss his last. And if I can help it, because I can see his growth and progress, right? And those are the two important ones. Like, Mom, it's my first game. Mom, it's the last game of the season.
Yes.
If I can help it, I don't miss it. And the reason for that is those are my boundaries, right? Because those are important to me. And I'm saying, I'm putting you first. I'm putting you ahead of the business.
That's
So when we do that, we're saying, okay, I understand the capacity I have to give. And right now it needs to be in the order of my values, and my family comes ahead of the business. And so I keep coming back to that. And there's a reason, Bob, because it is so important. So important.
Wow, that is so powerful. Because I remember when I was a kid, it looks like, especially for my dad, work seems to come before family and stuff. Which I can understand. You have to provide for your children. We went to the best school and all of that. But as a child, though, you want to know that you are more important to your father, your mother, than a job. And once you know that, I think it really changes everything. You know that if I really, really am in trouble and I need to take time with my dad, he is going to stop whatever he's doing because I am more important to him. It just does something to your confidence that I think nothing else
Right.
can.
You know, and I've been guilty of that. You know, so I have a home office. I sit in my office, and when the door's shut, I tell the kids, okay, like, I'm in work mode.
Yes.
Okay, so if you need something, it's better. It needs to be important. And usually I'm working whether at school. But every once in a while they'll come in and I'm like, okay, what do we need? And, you know, I say it with love and grace, but it's also, I can tell that I'm like,
Yes.
I'm saying it like they're the burden. And I stop myself. I'm work in progress. I'm not perfect. I do everything perfectly imperfect. And so I'm like, oh, okay, give me a second. Let me finish
Yes.
this sentence, or let me finish this post, or whatever I'm in the middle of. I really say, I try to use these words. Let me finish this immediate thing.
Yes.
And then I will be with you. So you have my full attention.
That's powerful. Full attention. Yes. I think I can only speak for myself. Sometimes you are busy on the military or school or whatever else is going on in your life, that even when you are at home, in your mind, you are still at work, right? So you are not truly present. And the kids can suss it out. They know that daddy isn't here. And you really have to be present when you need to be present with your family and have quality time, right? Much better than just having an amount of time with your kids or your spouse or anything like that, right?
Yeah, I think Deion Sanders says, be where your feet are.
Wow.
So if you're in your office and your feet are in your office, you're in your office working. So I'm fortunate my office has a door. When I shut my door, I'm out of my office and I'm in family. I'm in mom mode. I'm in wife mode.
Wow.
Right. And I really try to keep that in here, because otherwise, you know, I am a high achiever and I'm a work in progress, right? I'm still being formed. And so I can go back into those really high achieving tendencies, like on the couch doing the work, on the couch doing the thing, even though I'm present and I'm not present. So be where your feet are. Deion Sanders. Yeah.
I love that. Be where your feet are. I'm going to remember that. Now, for people who are listening right now, they may be thinking, okay, Michelle, you are describing me perfectly. I am depleted. What are the first 2 to 3 things you think you would encourage them to do?
Stop pretending you're okay.
Yes.
Stop pretending that everything is fine, because it's not. And own it, right? So, okay, I'm not okay. This is not good. I don't know how I got here. And saying, I don't know how I got here, leaves the room open for you to be curious. Okay, where did this come from? Why do I feel this need to drive myself into the ground? And I say that literally because you are driving yourself into the ground.
Yes.
Right. And then I want you to come up with one thing that you can start and you can identify and you can start changing today. Not 10 things, not a million things. In fact, in my 6 pillars, I say we do things in behavior shifts.
Yes.
Right. So after we get your identity piece done, we talk about the perfectionism, we decide how to recover, we redefine what your success looks like. You come out aligned, authentic, with permission, and then we make shifts. Because if we try to do everything that we need to change all at once,
yes,
what do you think happens?
It's overwhelming. We do nothing at all.
We go into overwhelm and shut down. We do.
Yes.
And you chuckle because you know I'm right.
Yes.
Because that's what happens. And so we make behavior shifts. So you need to find one thing only that you can identify and start to work on changing.
I love that.
But I want you to hear this. This is really important. You don't have to wait until everything falls apart to give yourself the permission to change now.
Wow. Say that one more time. That's so powerful.
You don't have to wait until everything falls apart to give yourself the permission to change now.
Wow.
If you are seeing things, make that first step. Take that first step and say, okay, I don't want to be where Michelle was.
Yes.
Right?
Wow. That's so powerful. Well, if people listening right now, if that's the only thing they get out of this podcast, this is it. I mean, this is worth the price of admission right there. One thing. Wow. I really think, Michelle, you do need to write that book. I don't know if you've already started, but you need to make
It's in my head, BZ. It's in my head.
Because you can help so many people. I really, really love books. Like one of my greatest mentors is no longer alive, is no longer with us, but at least he took the time to write 2 books. So every time I need to listen from him, I just go back to his books and I just read it and I'm mentored right away. It's really powerful how books can really change lives. I mean, seriously. Wow. I think this is a great segue. There is a quote that you really like by Vince Lombardi. I love that quote too. He talks about winning is a habit, right? Watch your habit because they become your character. So let's talk about habits, character, and leadership. What habits have contributed most to the leader you've become today?
Oh, well, they've changed over the years, right? I think the biggest one is self-discipline.
Yes.
Self-discipline and self-awareness. So self-awareness is the first step in being a leader. You have to be self-aware. You have to understand who you are, what you stand for, what your purpose is. And then self-discipline, especially on the entrepreneurial side of things.
Yes.
You drive the business. You are the one that gets the things done. And when you're dealing with burnout, your discipline disappears.
Yes.
And so really, how do you come in, day out? And it's really that discipline, because motivation waxes and wanes. But you have to say, okay, I'm in my office by 8:30. Okay, I'm doing this today. And on days when life is hard and you're like, okay, if I can get one thing done.
Wow.
And I think James Clear says in Atomic Habits, don't miss 2 days in a row. So if there's anything you're working on trying to change and get better at, you don't miss 2 days in a row. Even if you only do the thing for 5 minutes, you've done the thing. And so you're building that habit and you're just rewiring the way your brain works.
Wow. That's really powerful. One of my mentors told me that really successful people and those who are not so successful, they really are the same in many ways, except successful people, they do what they need to do, whether they feel like it or not.
Yes.
They do what they need to do when they need to do it, whether they feel like it or not. If they need to go to the gym, they're going to go to the gym. They may not like it, but they're going to do it anyway. And then eventually, because of their action, they get the result. And that self-discipline is really, really important. Do what you need to do, whether you feel like it or not. Do it.
Yeah. And, I take that one step further. I do the hard things first. So I am very much a morning person. And so the hardest things on my to-do list, and they may not be hard as in challenging, they might just be hard because I don't want to do them, or it's not my favorite thing to do, right? And so that's what makes it hard.
Yes.
But do the hard things first.
Wow.
Because when you're in the middle of your day and your energy kind of starts to fade, the things that you love to do, are you're still going to want to do them.
Yes. Wow.
Right.
Powerful.
But you're not going to want to do the hard things when your energy is escaping you.
That is really powerful. It reminds me of a book written by one of my mentors, Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog, where it says, you have to do the hardest thing first, and then everything that is easy will come about. It's powerful. Wow, it looks like we are already running out of time here. But let me ask you, what we talked about the entrepreneur, and we want to win, we want to make more money, be profitable, business, and all of that. But what does winning mean to you now? As the meaning of success change throughout your career? Does it have a different meaning for you today?
Success to me today means freedom.
Wow.
Freedom to do the things that I want to do, to be able to say no to an event so I can go watch my kids' game. Freedom to say no to an event because I want to go on vacation. The freedom and the means to be able to do those things with my family. Because at the end of the day, I work to live. I no longer live to work.
Wow. Say that one more time. This is amazing. Simple, but so powerful.
Right. I work to live, not live to work.
Wow. That really changes your whole perspective, doesn't it?
It does.
Amazing. Okay. We are running out of time. I do want to spend a quick segment on your award-winning podcast. And I believe the podcast is Why I Believe. I believe you started this just April, right? Was it?
Yes, I started in April.
That is pretty amazing. Why did you have to start this podcast? What does that mean to you? What motivated you to do that?
Yeah, so the podcast wasn't my idea. I cannot take any credit for it. I just listened. If we're being honest, on Christmas morning, the Holy Spirit woke me up and told me to start a podcast to share my story of how I've been saved, which I've shared a little bit of that today, and to share other people's stories about how they're walking in faith, how they've been saved, and to just ultimately lead people to God. And
that's amazing.
So he said, do it. And I said, God, I'm a high achiever. Do you really want me to get out of bed on Christmas morning? I'm pretty sure it's your son's birthday and you don't want me to start today. And so I took notes on my conversation and I got started on it the next day and launched April 1st.
That's really amazing because, again, I had the great privilege of being on your podcast. Thank you so much. But really, it's faith-centered platform focused on real stories involving belief, resilience, hope, purpose, leadership, adversity, identity, and transformation. Right? You say real story, real faith, real impact. That is really something that is extremely meaningful. So your podcast asks guests to talk about how God has shown up in their lives. So let me turn your own question back to you. At least one. Why do you believe? If you are willing to go there.
Yeah, I believe because I wouldn't be here without him. Honestly, I didn't grow up in the faith. I grew up in a home that had Christian values instilled, but I didn't grow up going to church. And I think that's a big reason of why it took me so long to get there to that point.
Yes.
But I'm here because every time I turn around when I should have died, I have not.
Wow.
And there's no other explanation for it other than it's him. And he is here keeping me here because I'm still here to serve a purpose.
That is really, really powerful. Because when it comes to faith, it's not always when things go right and everything is wonderful, but it's when you go through tough time. I think that's really when you know if you have faith or not, at least in my life. I guess the question for you is, was there maybe a season when your faith was tested rather than strengthened, when believing was difficult and you kind of went through it?
Yeah, I'll say this about that. So I converted to Catholicism in 2010. And we went to church when it was convenient. We weren't the ones that were sitting in the pew every weekend. It was like, oh, okay, we're home this weekend. Let's go to church. And it wasn't until I made God the priority in my life that things started to change, not only externally, but internally.
Yes.
And there's an overwhelming peace and joy that comes when you actually make that choice to have that relationship with Jesus.
Yes.
And a lot of my guests say they say, I inherited my faith from my parents, but it wasn't until I chose it for myself.
Wow. That's powerful.
It is. It's so powerful, and it's very much the way that people move forward. And I'll just say this, I talk about a lot about my faith on my podcast, and it's a part of who I am.
Yes.
And it's just coming out as part of my burnout strategy is authentically me. Right? So you're going to hear about it. It's
so powerful. Wow.
Yeah.
The podcast is available everywhere podcasts are available. Again, why I believe podcasts. I encourage everybody to listen to it. The last question I'm going to ask you about this, Michelle, is some people who are listening, they may not be believers, they may not even believe in God. So for those who may not share your faith, what universal lessons about hope, about resilience, forgiveness, gratitude, and purpose do you hope they can still take from your story?
I go back to that fundamental. You don't have to earn your worth. You just have to own it. So even if you're not a believer, you're not a child of God, that's okay. I'm not here to convert you. That's not my job when I'm on stage. That's not my job through the podcast. My job is to say, hey, there's this person out here and he'd love to have a relationship with you.
Powerful.
And you don't have to, even if you don't believe, you don't have to earn your worth. You alone are worthy as you are.
Wow. Powerful. Powerful. All right. We are coming toward the end of the show. Is there anything that my audience can do to add value back to you? So grateful that you were able to spend time with us today.
Yes. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I appreciate being here. And if they have any questions, they can reach out on LinkedIn. I'd be more than happy to talk to them.
Very good. And your LinkedIn, so it's on linkedin.com, Michelle von Ruden, so very easy. And then your website, so if they wanted to hire you as a coach or anything or a speaker, they can just go to vonrudencc.com, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Very good. And then you also have a book that's in you that is coming soon, I hope.
I'll get started on it.
Once you publish your book, you'd absolutely need to come back. Let's see. Before we end, for just a couple of minutes, I like to end with what I call rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a question. And I want you to give me your answer as quickly as you can. Don't take too long to think. Whatever pops in your mind. Leadership is
helping others, serving others.
Success is
freedom.
Resilience is
never giving up.
What's the best leadership advice you've ever received?
Give more than you take.
Is there a worst leadership advice you've received?
Take more than you give.
Who's the leader who has profoundly influenced you, and what did you learn from that person?
My father. He taught me that accountability and and integrity are two very important things in leadership.
Now, we do read a lot here. What is a book that you are reading now that you like?
How to Become a Person of Influence by John Maxwell.
I love that. And I think on your LinkedIn, you also add this book by Papa John, which is High Road Leadership. Why should my audience read this one?
Well, because high road leadership is about taking the high road. There's a lot of people that are on the low road. There's a few people on the middle road, and the high road is wide open.
Wow. It takes a little bit of extra effort, doesn't it, to get on that high road?
It does. And you're not going to always stay there. You're going to falter, and that's okay. But when we falter, we need to learn to pick ourselves back up, become resilient, and press on.
And you talked about self-discipline earlier. The rewards are just unimaginable, aren't they? Once you pay the price. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate that. Is there a question I should have asked you? I didn't get the chance to ask. Anything else you wanted to share with my audience before we go?
Oh, we've had a great conversation. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it, BZ.
Thank you so much. And the last question I'm going to ask, which I ask everybody who comes on the show, just think of one word that represents our time on this podcast today. One word.
Insightful.
Insightful. Okay. I am so grateful and privileged to be speaking to the one and only Coach Michelle von Ruden. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your wisdom with us today. I'm looking forward to that #1 best-selling book that's inside of you. The world needs it. Thanks again, Michelle. I appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, everybody. Please follow Michelle on LinkedIn and follow her on her website as well. So I have one more podcast today in about 5 minutes. I'm going to be speaking to now retired Captain John J.C. Carter. Is the best-selling author of The Loudest Sound is Silence. We're going to be talking about leadership lesson from the bridge to the boardroom. Okay, thanks again for watching, and I see you in about 5 minutes. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.